Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you a video today to discuss why Cristiano Ronaldo has the short collar on his Superflies, be it the Superfly 4 or now the Superfly 5, the current model. He has a shortened collar. So for those that don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put some images on screen of his shoes, both on feet as well as off his feet, and you can very clearly see that the collar length is significantly shorter than what you can actually buy on a regular Superfly 4 or a regular Superfly 5. I would say it's about a half to a quarter the length of the regular variation, but it's also modified from there. It's not just a shortened standard collar, it's a fully customized shoe, which we'll get into in just a second. Now, because of this, because it looks like he's essentially wearing a low-cut version of the Superfly, a lot of people have tried to cut the collars off, which I would very much recommend not doing. It voids your warranty and essentially destroys a $300 pair of shoes, not to mention that it doesn't change the experience of wearing the shoe at all. It's just a little bit of extra material around your ankle. Cutting it off is not going to change the fit or comfort levels of the boot. So please keep that in mind. So the question, coming back to that, why does he have the shortened collar? There's a couple different reasons why I think he does that. The first reason being because he can. He's Cristiano Ronaldo. He can have special stuff if he wants it. And Nike's obviously going to bend backwards for this guy to keep him happy and to keep him obviously wearing a shoe that looks like the real product that you can buy in the store. Do boot enthusiasts know about this? Absolutely. Does the average consumer know about this situation? Probably not. If they watch this video, maybe they'll get educated a little bit and learn a little bit more about what exactly is going on, because a lot of professional players aren't necessarily wearing the off-the-shelf version of the shoe that you can actually go and buy in the store. In the case of Cristiano Ronaldo, Nike has posted pictures of his shoes. If you guys remember the rare gold Superfly 4s, they actually posted his specific pair that was custom made for him with the low-cut collar. Eventually they released a variation in that colorway that was just a regular Superfly construction, but the pictures that they posted of his actual shoe gave us a much closer look at the actual collar, and it also gave us a good look at the shoe itself, which I think a lot of people didn't necessarily pick up on because they were fixated on the collar. If you look at the pictures of that CR7 custom shoe, you can very clearly see that the shape of the boot is entirely custom. That's not the regular shape of a Superfly 5. And this is going to be the case with a lot of professional players, especially the bigger names. Their shoes are handmade as opposed to being mass produced like the ones that we can actually buy. So they basically take a custom shaping of their feet and they mold the shoe or actually construct the shoe around that particular shape. So it's essentially a custom fitted boot, no matter what shoe it is. But in the case of Cristiano Ronaldo, it's very clear to see that his Superflies are not the standard shape that you can actually buy. What does that do with the collar though? Now, if you look at the collar, not only is it shorter than the regular retail variation, it's actually a completely different fly knit weave than what you would find. It's not like they just took the regular collar and shortened it. It's got a much more open shape and a much softer material to it that actually looks a little bit thicker than what you would find on the regular variation, a more stretchy opening, if you will. But why are they doing that? So obviously we discussed he's got this custom variation because he can, and if he could, he rightfully should have a custom variation. He's gonna want that shoe to fit as good as it possibly can fit. But I think the second reason why he has the shortened collar is because you have to consider that all of these guys, the mid-cut thing is new for 2014. That's when it first came out. But you have all these players that have been playing for years and years and years, their entire life, where this has never been a thing. So it's quite a tall order to ask a guy like Cristiano Ronaldo, arguably the best player in the world, one or two, depending on how you want to look at that, to take a mid-cut shoe, which, yeah, the experience is not necessarily that much different from a low-cut model, but it is a little bit different. It's asking a lot to say, hey, wear this shoe that's completely different than anything that you've worn before this, and be happy about it. So obviously he's going to get that custom variation because regardless of whether or not he just doesn't like the feel of the collar, if he doesn't want it there, Nike's going to accommodate him. So I think that's one of the big reasons why his is shortened. It's one, because he can, and two, he's just not used to having it there, and he's a very precise player. He seems to be very finicky about his shoes. If you notice with Cristiano Ronaldo, he gets a new colorway and he wears the same shoes until the next colorway, and he switches at the very, very last second. It's difficult to see because obviously his boots are going to be cleaned up before pretty much every wear. But when he had that silverware colorway of the Superfly 4, I'm sure a lot of you guys remember those, it had the silver metallic finish, the sparkly finish on the surface of the upper, and then once that silver started to wear away, the shoe would essentially be black underneath. So once Ronaldo himself started wearing that signature colorway, they were a nice bright silver, but by the end of that colorway, they were pretty much black. And that's because he's been wearing the same pair. He doesn't seem to be the type of player to want to switch his shoes. He likes the feel of a well-worn boot. So that's why he's constantly wearing the same exact shoe, not necessarily multiple pairs in the same color, but what looks to be the exact same pair for the entire run of that colorway until he has to go and switch to the newest thing for marketing reasons, of course. So that's kind of an interesting thing in itself. And I think part of the reason why he doesn't want to have a new feel, a new something with his shoes. He wants it to be as familiar as possible as he transitions from one pair to the next. So that's part of the explanation, again, I think, for the shortened collar. The other thing to consider is that I believe Cristiano Ronaldo, and this is fairly common information, tapes his ankles. So the taping of his ankles, obviously that's going to add size to your ankle and heel area. And it's quite possible that the mid-cut collar is something that just felt too tight or it bothered him for whatever reason. So having the shortened collar eliminates that issue and he doesn't have the restrictiveness or the tightness or whatever he didn't like about that mid-cut collar bothering him with the shortened variation. So I think that's kind of an interesting thing as well. And probably one of the main reasons for the shortened collar. But again, the entire shoe is a custom variation made for his foot specifically. And again, he's Cristiano Ronaldo. He signed to a lifetime contract with Nike. Obviously, he's a big influencer in the Nike brand, especially when it comes to the Mercurial line. So it's very, very important, especially when that Superfly just launched, for him to be wearing that shoe. Was he wearing the actual Superfly 4? To a certain extent, yes, because it did have the Flyknit upper, but everything else was a custom variation. And again, to the average consumer, they would watch him on TV, see the new Superfly, and assume that the one they're going to buy is the exact same thing. That's really all Nike cares about. It has to look right, and as long as it looks close enough to the real thing, they're happy, Ronaldo's happy, and that's really what this situation is all about. Both parties keeping each other happy, because obviously it's a working relationship. There is money being exchanged here. It's a business deal at the end of the day, but they want to make sure that Ronaldo is happy with the shoes that he's wearing. And obviously having that low cut collar is something that makes him very, very happy. It's something that he wants. It's something that obviously he has access to. He can get that custom variation. So if he has access to that, why shouldn't he take advantage of it? I think something interesting to think about is other professional players, do they have access to this as well? Because obviously Ronaldo's the only one we see with a custom variation from Nike of a shortened Superfly, at least to my knowledge. I could be wrong on that. Obviously we've seen custom variations for Neymar. We see custom variations for a lot of professional players, but out of all the guys wearing mid-cut boots, he's the only one with a modified collar straight from Nike. So I find that kind of interesting in itself as well, because I'm wondering if other professional players perhaps asked for something similar and Nike quite simply said no. So something to think about. Let me know your thoughts on that down below in the comments. But that's all I have to say for this particular video. If you have any questions regarding any of this, leave it down below in the comments. I'll try my best to answer your questions. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to support it with a like. If you have any suggestions for other video ideas, leave those down below in the comments as well. And I'll definitely take a look at everything you guys have to say. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. Other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.